What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Today's video, we got some news here in regards to the upcoming Sweethearts Path event. So if you guys missed yesterday's video, there is a Sweethearts Heroes Path event happening tomorrow. The main rewards are going to be the 5-star souls for Solanar and his partner, the Fusion, Noldula. There's also going to be 25 fragments of the Fusion available in this Heroes Path event. And unless you won some tournaments or something like that, you're going to need at least 15 fragments from this final event. Otherwise, you won't be able to get the fusion. Plarium does offer fragment packs for players that have done at least, I believe, 50 fragments. So if you really want the fusion and you're short on fragments, just keep an eye out for those shop packs. And if you're really keen on getting those packs, just send support a message, and then I think they'll hook you up with some of those packs. With that all being said, let's jump into the news that we got for you guys here today, and it's gonna be right here. Hey y'all, this Friday, February 20th, we're planning to launch a progressive event, giving you at least 15x chance to summon the champions of your choice from the selected pool from Ancient, Primal, Sacred, and Void shards. It looks like it's going to be pretty partner themed, so we'll jump into that. There's currently actually a progressive event for the Predator that's happening right now for another 19 hours at the time of this recording. Now, this Predator event is basically just an event for, I would say, whales. And it's to loosen you up of shards so that you don't use, you can't use them for this Heroes Path event. So right now, if you're pulling shards, you're not getting too much credit for it in terms of getting additional rewards from events. And then once this 19-hour Predator bonus goes away, or Predator progressive goes away, we'll have this brand new progressive or this partner progressive that's happening right now. And we can talk about here quickly some of the champions that will be available. We have Moto of the Peel, which is the partner bonus or the partner champion for Esme. Esme was the Valentine fusion, I believe, last year, I want to say. But Moto is a damage dealer. I don't know if he hits super hard. He's supposed to have additional damage against Stone Skin, but he doesn't hit hard enough to kill like the tankiest champions through Stone Skin, but he can definitely kill like nukers and stuff through Stone Skin. 75% increase damage for champions under Stone Skin. He also ignores some shields. He can do a little bit of work for you, especially since he's part of the Ogun tribes, which isn't super strong. So you might have limited options there. So you could be okay. We do have Esme as well being offered. So the second half of that Esme Moto connection. Esme is not a bad champion. She does pretty good A1, increase attack on your whole team on an A1. That's pretty nice. And then she does have a 3-turn weaken block buffs, can be useful for somewhere like Hydra, for example. She has a 4-turn increase accuracy, increase speed. If this was a 3-turn, I think her value shoots up quite a bit. Interesting passive here. Her passive has a 15% chance of randomly changing the attacker's crit hits to weak, normal, or strong. If Moto's on the same team, the chance goes up to 30%. She does have a 1-turn cooldown active effect. Whenever this champion is hit, increase the turn meter of the ally with the highest attack by 50%. So this could be interesting because if she gets hit, you could potentially boost your damage dealer up, turn meter up quite a bit, and then could disrupt, cut in, and really surprise your opponent. It's a little bit of an interesting passive. She does bring speed in all battles, which is kind of nice. 113 base speed, so she can be pretty quick. Next champion up on this list, we have White Queen Ankora. I like White Queen. I do use her quite a bit in PvP before. She's very solid. She's got an A1 cooldown reduction. It's a lower chance. It's a 50% chance, but it's a 2-turn cooldown reduction on a random ally. She does have a 3-turn cleanse here with the shield and a turn meter boost, a small turn meter boost, only 10%. The best thing about her, I think, is either her passive or her revive. So her revive here on a 3-turn cooldown, single target revive, has a full reset on that champion and pretty decent turn meter, 75% turn meter. Usually you don't see revive abilities with higher than 50%, but this one has a 75% turn meter boost, and also comes with a small turn meter pushback. And her passive here is really nice. It kind of protects the champion with the highest, crit damage, I believe. Yes, highest crit damage from all of this hard CC stuff. And she's going to gain a bunch of benefits here from having White King on the same team. White King with 100% turn meter is super scary, and her reset ability always resets White King. She also brings speed in all battles here, good base stats. And even without White King, she's actually a pretty decent champion. So after White Queen Ankora, we have from the Undead Hordes, Rotos. Rotos here, super OD, but still a goodie. He obviously is hard carried by this passive for so many years, will decrease the damage from enemy hits so that incoming damage from any single hit will not exceed 50% of this champion's max HP. So if you hit him with a single hit, he can't die. Pretty much. He can't die. He has to die from multi hits. He's got an A1 decreased defense, chance at extra turns. He's got an A3, basically builds up max HP. And then he's got, sorry, A2 builds up max HP. And then the A3 here can go through unkillable and block damage if he built up enough max HP with the A2. And it's big, a 60% ignore defense here and 40% damage from books. It's a huge ability. And Rotos has been nerfed, I don't know how many times in this game. I would say, I want to say at least 3 times, but he's been in the game for so long and he's still like somewhat, still somewhat playable. I think Mercurial set definitely kills this guy even further. Considering he's mostly like a single target, single hit type of champion. But the extra turn stuff, and especially in a 9-piece Merciless set, gives him an opportunity to, maybe get some more extra turns and do some work against Mercurial set champions. But I still like him. I still enjoy playing him, and he was very impactful for my account when I pulled him. After that, we do have from the Demon Spawn faction, Sicia Flametongue. Sicia Flametongue, not a bad champion. Can be used for Hydra, can be used for Spider, for example. Does bring AoE, a decreased defense, and HP burn. It is conditional depending on, and weaken. It is conditional on having HP burns on the enemy. She does bring HP burns on her A3 here, and she also has an A1 extension or increased duration of the HP burn. Pretty mild bonus here with Cardiel. If Cardiel's on the team, all allies will heal by 3% of their max HP from HP burns instead of receiving damage and losing HP. I mean, Sulfuron basically has a passive similar to this without having the partner bonus. Yeah, and she's not, yeah, she's okay. She's okay. Decreased defense, weaken, HP burn can help your team do a little bit more damage. You can pitch in a little bit of damage as well. Mainly used, like I said, for Spider and Hydra. And then lastly, from the Sylvan Watchers, for the non-Void champions, we have Oella. Oella's partner is Alton of the Shell, and yeah, he already got a buff and he still sucks. So luckily, Oella is really good without Altan. She's got an A1, 100% chance to land decreased speed on a single target. If Altan's on the same team, she doesn't require accuracy, but who cares? We don't want to handicap our team with Alton on the same team. She does have a 3-turn big heal here, 30% big heal and an increased duration of all buffs. It's a little bit of a lower value ability. It feels like it's missing, a little bit of text here, but a little bit extra of effect. But it's actually really solid. It's really solid. It works really well for like tightest teams. And then her A3 here on a 3-turn cooldown, turn meter fill, 30%, big one, and then increased resistance. It's a very simple kit, right? Extension, heal, increase resistance, increase turn meter. And her passive here, not super impactful, but it is still here. Whenever an ally loses 15% of their max HP from a single hit, places continuous heal on the ally for 1 turn. Places it for 2 turns if Alton's on the same team. Yeah, not very big bonuses there. And then she brings resistance in dungeons. Not a very great aura. Good base stats, good base speed. I do use Oella relatively frequently. She's one of those fusions that I refer to when I talk about fusions that were considered really bad, that somehow found a way to be really, really important. So I use Oella in my Chimera Titus team. She brings increased resistance, turn meter fill, which is great, and then the big heal, which is good against the Lionhead. After Lionhead targets my Wixwell, for example, you give Wixwell a big heal, he can survive. And obviously the increased duration of all buffs is very good. And she also brings the A1 decreased speed for that team as well against the Chimera, which is really, really strong. So she definitely found a place, at least for me, on my account on that team. So that's going to be the non-voids here. Let's talk about the void champions, and this is going to be the big draw for this event. And it's going to be Solanar, the Gleaming, the brand new void champion here. Like I said, in all my videos so far, every single time I run into this guy, I'm more and more impressed. I think he's an absolute powerhouse. He does have a partner bonus here with the fusion Noldula, but she's not needed. She's not needed. She basically gives him the opportunity to be built without crit rate. But if you want Solanar to be used in basically all areas of the game, you basically just build him with 100% crit rate and just forget that this partner bonus exists. So his A1 is, I think, the biggest thing about his kit, allowing him to be an absolute monster. The A1 is an AoE attack, has a chance to place fatigue. Now, that's not the big thing about his kit because the fatigue still requires accuracy to land. But the big thing is the counterattacks. It's a 100% chance to counterattack whenever an enemy takes an extra turn or instant turn. So this instantly counters mythical champions, for example. So he's going to activate the A1. And then also there's a 35% chance of counterattacking with this skill whenever the enemy has a turn meter increase. And turn meter increases happen all the time, even on things that you might not be aware of. So this ability is going to happen a lot. And if Solanar is really, built out to deal a lot of damage, this A1 can just kill your team without the enemy actually having to take a turn. So that's pretty wild. And his A2 and A3, while they're good in their own way, having them kind of not being used gives him a bit additional bonus, at least for the A2. The A2, if you don't use it, he's immune to debuffs. And instead of getting debuffs, he gets random buffs if this ability is not on cooldown. So leaving this basically active, off cooldown, I think gives him more benefit than him actually using it. And if you need to use it, it's going to deal a ton of damage depending on how many buffs on Solanar. So you can basically like stack buffs on Solanar and then use the A2 when it best fits you. The A3 here is a little bit good as well. It steals buffs and turn meter, 100%, no accuracy needed, no partner bonus needed for this. If they're not under Stone Skin, and if they're under Stone Skin, it just ignores Stone Skin. So it's also a bit of a situational ability, but you can definitely use it a little bit more. I would say use the A3 instead of the A2 and just leave the A2 for like the finishing blow, or to kill a really big trouble minion, or if your Solanar has lots of buffs already. Now his A3 also has additional bonuses here with the extra turn stuff. So you receive less damage when enemies take extra turns or instant turns. So again, this counters mythical champions. While this skill is on cooldown, reduce the cooldown by 1 turn whenever an enemy receives an extra turn, instant turn. Only occurs once per turn. So you can reset this ability quickly if your enemy starts taking extra turns or instant turns. And it happens relatively frequently. 40% damage from books here, really good value. He also has a passive here, which is quite interesting as well. Whenever he's the last man standing and all your allies are dead, he comes back with a big magma shield, 100% HP, 100% turn meter, and he's ready to do some more damage. Now the magma shield is interesting because it reflects damage back to the enemy, so it does give him additional sources of damage. He also negates all healing on your enemy as well, which is actually pretty nuts. And then he gets some additional sustain as well, because whenever your enemy heals, he receives the healing instead. Yeah, this champion, crazy. He's crazy. And yeah, like I said, every time I play against him, I'm more and more impressed. He is going to be basically the main event here for this summoning progressive. Now, a 15x on this guy basically gives you about a 15% chance to pull him if you pull a Void Legendary. Now, the Void Legendaries are not boosted on the Void Shards for this event, so it's only a 0.5% chance to pull a Void Legendary from a Void Shard. It's a long shot, and then with that long shot, you only have a 15% chance of pulling this guy if you wanted to select him in your progressive. So, just to check expectations there a little bit, but he's definitely going to be the main event for this upcoming event. Up next, we do have Sicia from the Voids right here. Sicia, the partner to Rotos, still a decent champion. Can be used in many areas. If you have her, she's definitely going to be a huge progress booster. 114 base speed, got an A1 irresistible sleep, depending on the turn meter if they're above 50%. And then she's got a 4-turn block buff, increased defense, increased speed, and turn meter boost on the A2. Now, this ability in the arena gets picked on by Supersonic set quite a bit. It's a little bit unfortunate, and this ability has actually kind of aged or been power crept. I believe a couple of years ago, it used to be a 3-turn cooldown, and then they increased it. And also, the turn meter boost used to be 20%, and then they reduced the turn meter to 10%. So they nerfed this ability quite a bit, like many years ago. But now I feel like this ability has been power crept. Like if this was a 3-turn cooldown, I don't think people would feel it's too overpowered. Or if this was 20% turn meter boost and this was kept at 4 turns. But right now it does feel a little bit on the weaker side. Her single target revive also on a 4-turn cooldown, basically perfectly fit for Rotos, 55% HP and full turn meter. That's a big one. And then places increased attack and increased crit rate. I mean, on a 4-turn cooldown on a single target revive, it's roughly in line with all these additional goodies. But yeah, not OP anymore. The passive here, she does heal everybody by 10% of the max HP at the start of their turn. And then suddenly she has a 50% chance of removing freeze, a fear, true fear from each ally at the start of their turn. Sometimes I forget about this, but yeah, it does happen 50% of the time. And then she keeps Rotos nice and cleansed off every time, which is one of the big things about her partner bonus with Rotos, is basically it makes Rotos hard to control. Resistance in all battles. Yeah, Sifi, old favorite here. And then up next for the voids, we do have from the Sacred Order here, we have Cardiel. I have Cardiel on my alt. I love this guy. He's a hard carry for that account for a long time. He's got speed in all battles. Got an A1 team heal here, which is amazing. He's got an A2, 3-turn cooldown, full team cleanse, block debuff, revive on death, and then the revive on death is protected. Very good ability. Cardiel's very old now. I think he's 5+ years old, and this ability still is very strong for a team cleanse. So still one of the best ones. And then he does have a team ally attack you on a 4-turn cooldown, increased crit rate, crit damage. And then he has an additional condition here, decreased cooldown of the skill if an enemy is killed from this attack. So still one of the better team ally attacks. Not too many of those around in this game. His passive's also pretty good as well. Allies receive 20% less damage from champions from these factions. Whenever an ally attacks, he has 15% chance up to 30% chance to team up with them and join the attack. So whenever he joins the attack, he heals the team with this 7.5% heal. And he has a small partner bonus here with Sicia. It's almost non-existent, to be honest. I forget about it sometimes, but it's just on the passive. So very small partner bonus here for with Sicia, basically non-existent. But yeah, Cardio is going to be up for grabs here as well during this progressive. And then lastly, for the Void Champions, we have Ankora's partner, and it's going to be White King Narcissus. White King Narcissus was the best guarantee, I would say, Void Champion from Void Shards I think they ever given out. And I don't really think that's up for debate because when he was the Void guarantee, I think he was 110 Void Shards, and you got this guy. And then Korra was the fusion, and then you instantly got an insane partner pair. And White King and then Korra definitely changed the meta because they handled Marichka Taras, that combo, way more easily than with other kind of options, right? At that time, there was just, Taras Marichka was just running wild. I mean, they're still kind of running wild a little bit, but like definitely not as much as it was before. And this was before mythicals and all that stuff. But White King and Ankora definitely broke that defense quite a bit. He's definitely fallen off the meta a little bit. He's kind of just a damage dealer. Like the big ability here is this ignore defense. AoE attack, damage inflicted by the skill cannot be decreased by enemy passive skills or mastery. So this is a big one because it shuts down basically Taras's passive mitigation. So he takes the full damage. And then where is his other ability here? His passive also allows him to ignore shield and strengthen, and he also places an extra hit on targets on this AoE if they're under shield and strengthen. Basically, a hard counter to somebody like Marichka who places shield and strengthen. So Narcissus, crazy damage dealer, crazy counter against Taras Marichka. He does have an A3 single target block revive. It's a bit conditional, but it's possible to basically block somebody's revive, which is pretty nuts. And to me, he's one of the biggest misses I've ever experienced on my account in my raid career. Basically, at that time, I did not have 110 void shards to get this champion for my account. And yeah, that was one of the biggest things that I remember about this guy's whole event. And I believe that was about 3 years ago now. So anyways, that's going to be it for the void shards for this weekend. Now, like I said, the main event is going to be Solanar. And how many people will be chasing this guy? Obviously, the big spenders will want to get their hands on this guy, maybe even like multiple copies, and that's where they're going to be spending their big money on. I think he's a very interesting, very powerful champion. I'm not too sure myself. I'm actually kind of tempted to pull shards for him myself. I'm not sure where my mercy is. I have 113 void shards, not a lot, but I have a lot of sacred shards, which will make this event quite easy. If you're lucky enough to pull Solanar, this weekend, you do have the opportunity to go for his 5-star soul. That would be nice. You know, if Plarium just gave us like an event for Solanar, like a guarantee one, you can pull for him and then you can pull, more for his soul at the same time. That would have made more sense. But anyways, we're not going to be so lucky that Plarium's going to give this guy up as a guarantee. No way, no way. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully it was informative for you guys. Let me know in the comments below what you guys are planning to do. Best of luck if you guys are pulling. Thanks for watching until the end, and I'll see you guys in the next one.